Hello and welcome to Daddy's Bedtime Stories. Tonight we're going to read a book that I read when I was a young kid called The Folk from the Faraway Tree by Enid Blighton. So this is about part 4 that I've read and reading this tonight for all the kids out there who need a nice bedtime story. So hope you enjoy and listen up and let's read this book. The Folk of the Faraway Tree by Enid Blighton, part 4. Connie was frightened when she found herself slipping down the hole in the tree. Usually people who used the slippery slide had a cushion to sit on, but Connie hadn't. She slid down and round, faster and faster. She gasped and her hair flew out from behind her. She came to the bottom of the tree and her feet touched the trapdoor set in the slide there. It flew open and Connie shot out, landing on a soft tuft of moss, which the little folk grew there, especially so that anyone using the tree slide might land softly. Connie sat there, panting, frightened. She was at the bottom of the tree. The others were all at the top. They would be having tea together, laughing and joking. They wouldn't miss her. She would have to stay at the bottom of the tree until they came down again, and that might not be for ages. If I knew the way home, I'd go, thought Connie. But I don't. Oh, what's that? It was a red squirrel, dressed in an old jersey. He came out of a hole in the trunk, where he lived. He bounded over to Connie. "Where's your cushion, please?" he said. "What cushion?" said Connie. "The one that you slid down on," said the squirrel. I didn't slide down on one," said Connie. "You must have," said the red squirrel, looking all around for the cushion. "People always do." "Where have you put it? Don't be a naughty girl now, let me have it. I always have to take them back to Moonface." "I'll tell you I didn't have a cushion," said Connie, beginning to feel annoyed. "I just slid down on myself and got pretty warm." She stood up. The squirrel looked at the back of her. "My, you worn out the back of your frock, sliding down without a cushion," he said. "It's all in rags. Your petticoat is showing." "Oh, this is horrid. Afternoon," said poor Connie. "I've been splashed with ink and soaked with soapy water, and now I've worn out the back of my frock." The trapdoor suddenly shot open again, and out flew Moonface on one of his cushions. He shouted to Connie, "I say, didn't you like my party? Why did you rush off so quickly?" "I fell down that silly hole," said Connie. "Look at the back of my frock. There's nothing to look at you worn it out. Slipping down without a cushion," said Moonface. "Come on, I'll take you back. Look out, here comes a basket. It's one of Dame Washalot's biggest ones. I borrowed it from her to go back in." "All right, Red Squirrel, don't take my cushion. I'll put it in the basket to sit on." The red squirrel said goodbye and popped back into his hole. Moonface caught the big basket that came swinging down on a stout rope and threw his yellow cushion into it. He helped Connie in, tugged at the rope, and then up swung between the branches up the tree. Up, past the angry pixies, past Our Face's home, past What's-his-name, still snoring, past Dame Washalot, and right up to Moonface's own house. "Here we are," he called to Joe and Saucepan Man, who were busy tugging at the rope to bring up the basket. "Thanks so much." Everybody was amused to see that at the bottom of poor Pony's dress was gone. "She's ragged now and as well as dirty," said Saucepan, sounding quite pleased. He didn't like Connie. I wonder what would happen to her next. And there's Connie sliding down the tree in her pretty frock. "Nothing, I hope," said Connie, scowling at him. "Soap. Yes, you do look as if you want a bit of soap," said Saucepan, mishearing as usual. "And a needle, and cotton too." "Now stop it, Saucepan," said Silky. I never known you were so quarrelsome. Come on and eat the hot, cold goodies. Nobody's had any yet." They went into Moonface's curved home and sat down again. Connie tried not to go near the hole. She was very much afraid of falling down it again. She took a hot cold goodie, and it was like a very, very big chocolate. Hot cold goodies were peculiar. You put them in your mouth and sucked. As soon as you had sucked the chocolate part off, you came to what seemed like ice cream. "Oh, ice cream," said Joe, sucking hard. "Cold as can be. Golly, it's cold to bear. It's getting colder and colder. Moonface, I'll have to spit out my goodie. It's too cold for me." But just as he said that, the hot cold goodie stopped being cold, and it got hot. At first it was pleasantly warm, and then it got very hot. "It's almost burning me," said Bessie. "Oh, now it's gone ice cold again." "Moonface, what extraordinary things! Where did you get them?" "I bought them from a witch who popped down from the land of marvels today," said Moonface, grinning. "Funny, aren't they?" "Yes, awfully exciting, and delicious to taste. Once you've got used to them, changing from cold to hot and hot to cold," said Bessie. "I'll have another." "What land did you say was at the top of the tree today?" asked Silky. "The land of marvels." "Oh, yes, I went there last year, I remember." "What was it like?" asked Fanny. "Marvellous," said Silky. "All wonders and marvels. There's a ladder that hasn't any top. You go on and you keep climbing up, and you never reach the top. And a tree that sings whenever the wind blows. A cat that tells you your fortune, and a silver ball that takes you all around the world and back in the wink of an eye. Well, I can't tell you all the marvels there are. I'd like to go and see them," said Joe. "You can't," said Silky. "The land moves on today. It would be dangerous to go there now, because it might move on at any moment, and then you'd be stuck in the land of marvels." "I don't believe a word of it," said Connie. "She doesn't believe in anything magic," explained Joe. Seeing that Silky looked rather surprised, "Don't take any notice of her, Silky. She'll believe all right soon." "I shall not," said Connie. "I'm beginning to think this is all a horrid dream. We'll go home and go to bed, and you'll dream your dream there," said Joe, getting tired of Connie. "I will," said Connie, getting up, offended. "I'll climb down the tree myself, and I'll ask that kind red squirrel to see me home. This is a horrid party." The silly girl went to the door, opened it, went out, banged it shut. The others stared at one another. "Is she always like that?" asked Moonface. "Yes," said Joe. "She's an only child, and very spoilt, you know. Wants her own way always, and turns up her nose at everything. I'd better fetch her back." "No, don't," said Moonface. "She can't come to any harm. Let her climb down the tree, if she wants to. I only hope she peeps in the angry fat pixies again. When I went past in the basket, he was writing a letter again, but with red ink this time. Then Connie will probably get red spots on her dress now," said Fanny. But Connie hadn't gone down the tree. She stood outside on a branch, sulking. She looked down the tree and saw Dame Washalot busy washing again. Silly old woman! Connie didn't feel as if she wanted to go near her, in case she got water all over her again. So she looked upwards. She was nearly at the top of the tree. She thought it would be fun to climb right up to the top and look down at the forest. What a long way she would see! She climbed upwards, and she came to the top of the tree. To her great astonishment, the last branch of all touched the clouds. Yes, it went straight up into the vast white cloud that hung floating over the top of the tree. "Queer," said Connie, looking up at the purple hole that made by the tree branch in the cloud. "Shall I go up there, into the cloud?" "Yes, I will." She went up the last branch, and to her silly greater amazement, there was a little ladder leading through the thickness of the clouds from branch. A ladder! Connie was full of great curiosity. She could hardly bear to wait and see what would be at the top of the ladder. She climbed it, and suddenly her head poked through the cloud into a new and different land altogether. "Well," said Connie in surprise. So the children told the truth. There is a land at the top of the faraway tree, and can I really be dreaming? She climbed up into the land. It was queer. There was a curious humming noise in the air. Strange people walked around quickly past, some looking like witches, some looking like goblins. They took no notice of Connie. "The land is moving on," cried one goblin to another. "It's on the move again. Where shall we go next?" And then the land of marvels moved away from the top of the tree and took poor Connie with it. Off to Jack and the Beanstalk. Joe, Bessie, Fanny and the others went on with their tea. They finished the hot gold goodies. Then they started on some pink jelly that Moonface had made in the shape of animals. They were so nicely made that it seemed quite a pity to eat them. "We'd better save some for Connie, hadn't we?" said Bessie. "Let's see if she's outside the door. I expect she's standing there sulking." Moonface opened the door and there was nobody there. He called loudly, "Connie! Connie!" There was no answer. She was gone down the tree. "I should think," he said. "I'll just yell down to Dame Washalot and see if she saw her." So he shouted down to the old dame, but Dame Washalot shook her head. "No," she shouted back, "no one has passed by here since you came up in the basket." "Moonface, no one at all?" "Funny," said Moonface, going to tell the others. "Where's she gone then?" "Up through the clouds," said Silky. "No, surely she wouldn't have done that by herself," said Joe in alarm. "Look, Moonface, there's the red squirrel who wants to speak to you." The red squirrel came in trying to hide a hole in his old jersey. "I heard you calling Connie, Mr. Moonface," he said. "Well, she's gone up the ladder through the cloud. I expect she's in the land of marvels. I saw her go." "Good gracious!" cried Joe, jumping up in alarm. "Why, the land is ready to leave here at any minute. Didn't you say, Silky? What a silly she is. We'd better go and get her back at once. I thought I heard the humming noise. That means any land is moving on," said Moonface, looking troubled. "I don't believe we can save her. I'll pop up the ladder and see." He climbed up to the highest branch and went up the ladder, but there was nothing to be seen at all except swirling, misting cloud. He came down again. "The land of marvels is gone," he said, "and the next land hasn't even come yet. I don't know what it will be either." "Well, Connie's gone with the land of marvels. She wouldn't do a silly thing like that." Bessie went pale. "But what can we do about it?" she said. "Whatever can we do? We're in charge of her, you know. We simply can't let her go like this. We must find her somehow." "How can we?" said Silky. "You know that once the land has moved on, it doesn't come back for ages. And Connie will have to stay there. I don't see that it matters anyway. She's not a very nice person." "Oh, Silky, you don't understand," said Joe. He looked very worried. "She's our friend, and though she's silly and annoying at times, we have to look after her and help her. How can we get to her?" "You can't," said Moonface. Saucepan had been trying to follow what had been said, his face looking very earnest. He didn't like Connie, and he thought it was a very good thing she had gone off to the land of marvels, but he didn't know a way of getting there, and he badly wanted to tell the others. But he did know a way of getting there, and he badly wanted to tell the others. But they all talked at once, and he couldn't even get a word in. So in despair, he clashed his saucepan and kettle together so violently that everybody jumped and stared around at him. "He wants to say something," said Joe. "Go on with it, Saucepan." Saucepan came out with it in a rush. "I know how to get to the land of marvels without waiting for it to arrive here again," he said. "You can get to it from the land of giants, which joins on to it." "Well, I don't see how that helps us," said Moonface. "We don't know how to get to the land of the giants either, silly." "No, it's not hilly," said Saucepan, going all deaf again. "It's quite flat. The land of giants have made it flat by walking around on it with their enormous feet. What is he talking about? Said Bessie. Saucepan, stop talking about geography of giant land and tell us how to get there. How to get there, did you say? Asked Saucepan, putting his hand in his left ear. Yes, yelled everybody. Well, that's easy, said Saucepan, beaming round. Same way as Jack and the Beanstalk did, of course, up the beanstalk. Everybody stared at Saucepan in silence. They had all heard of Jack and the Beanstalk, of course, and how he climbed up the beanstalk into Giant Land. But where's the beanstalk? Asked Joe at last. Where Jack lives, said Saucepan, suddenly hearing well again. I know him quite well. Married a princess and lives in a castle. I never knew that he was an old friend of yours, said Moonface. How did you come to know him? I sold him a lot of saucepans and kettles, said the saucepan man. He was giving him an enormous dinner party, and they hadn't enough to cook everything in. So I came along just at the right moment and sold him everything I got. Very lucky for him. And for you too, grins Moonface. Well, you better take us to your Jack, Saucepan. We better not all go, said Joe, looking around at the little company. I must go to show you the way, said Saucepan, who loves making a journey. And I must go, of course, said Moonface. And I shall come with you to look after you, said Silky firmly. You always get into such silly scrapes, and if I'm not there to see to you. And I shall certainly come, because I was really in charge of Connie, said Joe. And we're not going to be left out of an adventure like this, said Bessie at once. Are we, Fanny? Well, it looks like we're all going then, said Moonface. All right, let's go. But don't get caught by any giants, for goodness sake. Must we go through Giant Land to get to the land of Marvel's Saucepan? Well, that's the end of the reading for tonight. I hope you enjoyed that. The Folk of the Faraway Tree is a fantastic book by Enid Blighton, and it's a very old book that I read when I was a child. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that's helped you get some nice sleep. I hope that's going to help you to get to sleep tonight. So yeah, good night, girls and boys, and have a lovely night. Bye.